Alright boys and girls, and welcome back to another building video. We are a little bit delayed on the PvP vid, but I've got a banger ready to go for the next week. This time I'm bringing you guys all a new, interesting, different little footprint to try out. It's a banging base with a cute little cozy open core, a nice bunkered core working on console rust and PC rust. This thing is spammed with online protection, and it's also got a nice little offline protection technique where we are hiding the TC, just like I do in most of my PvP vids, inside this base. So we've got two externals and our main TC is hidden away on the inside. This is going to ensure that you have building priv all throughout an online raid defense, and it's also going to ensure that your base is still there when you wake up in the morning in the case of an offline raid. This is going to be some great tech that I reckon we will see start to get pushed out a lot more often across most bases of all different group sizes. This build has got a tanky shooting floor with a lot of fall protected angles to give you the best chance at defending potential raids or just PvPing outside the base. It comes equipped with everything you would need for an entire wipe. This base is an absolute banger, and of course the base vids take a lot of time. If you guys are able to, maybe leave a like, maybe a little sub, and of course comment something nice, and let's get ahead into the tour. Alright boys and girls, and welcome in now with the tour of today's video. As I probably mentioned before, we are rocking a lemon footprint, which is probably one that you've not seen too commonly. This base is a 3TC with two externals and one main TC, and as I mentioned as well, our main TC is actually hidden inside the base, which is a feature that I've been utilizing in most of my wipes, closely to a kind of chasebox style. However, we're bringing this through to main bases because it's about time we start rocking this technique in some more meta designs. As for our external, it's a pretty basic one. We just come on inside and open up these doors, giving us access to our TC, our disconnect, and a little bit of backup storage here because we needed to use a square. So set this up as you'd like, maybe a bed on the inside or anything else that you can think of. Essentially, this twig is holding up some stability to connect this over to our gatehouse. So breaking the twig on the inside is going to break our disconnect just like so. And then if we want to add things back, we throw the twig inside. Of course, you want that to be twig. And then we can reconnect everything up just like so, with the brutalist there marking those new buildings. Disconnecting our external, of course, allows you to replace the main TC, which is something you'll need to do in this base design. We're going to hide it from starter somewhere else a little bit cleverer, a little bit harder to get to. This also prevents main TC being taken inside the base without also attacking the externals as well, so very handy to have, and the disconnect makes our life a little bit easier. Before we continue with the tour, I'd like to let you boys and girls know what I got going on. The Patreon is doing absolutely insane right now. To everyone who has copped it for a month or even continued their subscription, I am massively thankful. Genuinely means so much to me. It's always surreal to see my bases out there on servers when I'm playing the game, and seeing these Patreon bases out there too is just an exceptional feeling. A lot of you guys have been having fun with the solo mini box, and I'm already in the testing phase of a brand new box on a brand new footprint that I reckon could once again take the rust scene by storm, so stay tuned for that. The Patreon also gives access to private Discord roles, and for a higher tier, you can have priority response times with me for any help on bases, settings questions, or peripheral consultations. And of course, join the Discord down below. I'm massively active in there, and it's always worth checking out if you have any questions at all. Cheers for listening, guys. Let's get back on into the tour. We'll come inside the gatehouse now. It's the one we usually rock. Airlock's in, very nice. Coming through, gives us some Patricos into our compound. Great downward angles throughout the rest of the compound here, giving us a lot to play off of. And then a Patrico back outside the base too. And you can window that off for now if you want, with a barrel above. Exiting out gives us a bit of an airlock here when we open up the door, and our turrets are above the gatehouses just like so. And I haven't placed that many turrets in this build, so there are more spots you can throw them down, but all I really saw fit for was around about 4 turrets to cover everything that I care about. But of course, if you want to go crazy with the wire tool, feel free to get a few more down. Halfway between each of our gatehouses is a little extra square as well. This seems like a good spot for some vending machines. Both of these are drone accessible as well, so you can see they support drones, and early game they would also be walk up accessible as well. So essentially we'd build up to our shield wall, have these vending machines down, make some early game sales. Maybe you've got some fragments, something like that, to make some profit, and that's what you can play out of until they are drone accessible from behind the large furnace here. Large furnace is on the shield wall, and shield wall, for anyone who doesn't know, we have a few convenient spots to help us build. So you would hide down here from a raid base and essentially just start shield walling all the way up and over into oncoming rocket fire, and then swapping to single doors if you're unable to place walls. This is going to hopefully soak up some rockets from raiders that may not have rockets to spare, keeping vital parts of the base alive, allowing you to defend for longer, hopefully meaning you get to have a bit more fun, and you might get to keep your loot as well for another day. In front of this extra square, and you could throw a bed in here because it's kind of a nice spot to quickly jump up. You can see on the left side of this netting, we can reverse waterfall all the way up to our roof height level. You can see it gives us a quick ankle biter onto our roof, and then it airlocks us out. Try not to show the roof for now though. It's also a nice way to drop down to fall damage free, which is pretty cool as well. Probably gotten a peek at a couple of the wide gaps as well that we have down in compound. It's a good online ready base with a lot of offline raid ready features too. We can hop inside now, and that's going to take us to the base. There's 2 front doors that lead straight up and through into our mobility. Opening that door obviously takes us into core, continuing the mobility up here, and we get a quick retake that allows us to double check if anyone is above before we open any doors, potentially giving space to raiders. Opening up this door Opening up the single door showcases our airlock that we're rocking here into our core, and that's going to be on either side of the base. As you can see, we can wrap out and through, which is really nice. So the lemon core, good chance a few of you have not lived in one of these, but it sets up pretty nice, giving you a lot of storage, a lot of room to move around down the middle, and a bunker as well for our core. This bunker is of course console friendly, so if you're on PC or console, you'll be able to utilize all the best parts of this base, which I really like. Ideally, the second floor will give you enough storage to expand through to the rest of the base nice and easily, and enough space for all those extra deployables too. Dropping down, this is the bunker setup. And across the other side, you can see that that armored roof is sitting on a wooden foundation. It needs to be wooden, not twig, just to be crystal clear. And if we break that out, unfortunately by soft siding, then you can go ahead and break the bunker, opening things up. During the day when you're online, I would just leave the base in this state here, keeping that wooden foundation and wooden staircase leading us up into our second floor. That's nice and convenient to move around. Then when nighttime comes and you need to close up the bunker, you can go ahead and chop this out again, breaking the twig stairs. And this time we'll throw a ramp on top and upgrade it to armored. Inside the core, another airlock is going to take us in. And in here we get 2 decently sized loot rooms, giving you enough space to play on. That's a symmetry bug, don't worry about that. Then we get some extra storage in here, and this is where we would expect our TC to be during the start of the build. But of course, we do hide it somewhere new, giving us that extra defendability. So let's start our base, of course, get some bags in here as well, and a workbench. That all got broken though when I had symmetry on. We're still learning the new sank. You gotta give me some time. Jumping up now though, back through to our mobility chute, it's going to take us to our open core. Open core is actually really cute and small. However, it packs a lot of boxes, and I think it's going to be quite a cozy space for you guys to live in. Jumping up gives us a bit of a mega loot room here, which is super nice, and that's behind a little garage door there. Then opening up this section is going to give us a few drop down bedrooms, and this space in the middle is where we'll mainly live out of, offering up boxes down here, over here as well, and then of course in the center with our workbenches nearby. You may have noticed that there is an embrasure over here, and you do need to be crouching to even see onto this, especially with this garage door bumper. It's really quite a tight angle, and you'll see from our mobility, this is where we can retake our open core, the nice respawn here, and a barrel. You can shoot anyone inside the open core, and it's pretty much a one-way, and you can see that this watches all the way to the jump up. So from jump up to jump up, we can hold that down from there. Really dangerous angle for anyone who's inside the open core. As I said as well, we have 2 drop down bedrooms, so dropping this down here, opening up the G door is going to give us space into bedrooms. These are our open core respawns, and of course they wrap up and through, giving us a little bit of defendability in an online raid to come over and through. And you may have spotted a single door around here that's clearly quite well out the way, and I would say that that is not a bad spot for you to hide your main battery that holds down the majority of your turrets, and wrapping all the way up, over and through, not a bad spot for your main TC either. Make sure you lock this, of course, or the externals won't do anything, but this is a most central point of the base, 3 to 4 walls from the outside, and also tucked away pretty hard for raiders to get a hold of, especially with a nice door path on there too. So overall, very sneaky TC placement and a nice cozy open core for you guys to use. Taking the mobility chute up, that's the retake, and then we can one-way into our shooting floor. So this is a nice little one-way. Of course, when the beds are gone, we're going to get a better angle here. So if anyone is running around in here that shouldn't be, we're going to be able to take those guys out from here, which is super nice, looking all the way around and through. This takes us up to a bit of a god floor, where we do airlock out into some beds and barrels. And I've just kind of G-doored this section off from all sides so that we're a little bit safer. This is where our shooting floor is. We get a few respawns in the center. The space for more beds here. I just wanted to make it look nice. A few beds, barrels, set some HVs, some heavy pots, ready for online raid defense up in this area. And then we have one-ways for anyone that shouldn't be in here. We'll give a little showcase now of the shooting floor angles. So we got a mix of some fob protected peaks, and then we get some wide gaps as well that we can utilize from both sides, which is super nice. And then we do get our Patricos as well in shooting floor. Giving yourself something to crouch on is going to, of course, make these angles a lot more efficient. That's looking down towards our external TC, all the way around and through compound, and these angles are deadly. You can sit up here and have multiple people aiming at you, and it's unlikely they're going to be able to take you off this one. If you've got a heavy pot, you're even more unkillable, which just makes these angles super, super busted, and they are full 360 all the way around the base on every corner, giving you wide gaps, for protected peaks, and tight Patricos all the way around. Finally, we go back through these doors and we can head up now to our roof. Once again, on roof, we of course have the retakes from the reverse waterfall. We get a one-way looking straight into the center part of roof as well over here, which is super nice. And just for people who don't know what one-ways are, you can see that if I am up on roof, I pretty much can't even shoot back at this. I need to be getting the right angle, already holding it, and crouching as well is super important. If I am standing up here holding the doors, I'm a bit of a freebie, which is really, really nice. From that one way though, we can jump up. We get a few visibility windows and a Patrico down the center as well. Again, watching straight to our external TC, somewhere we can expect to see some raiders on this side of the base. So an amazing angle to use. More visibility out here as well. It's always important to have a few open windows when you're using all of these tight angles, just to actually let you see what's going on. Opening the double door airlocks our drop down, which is super nice. And you can see we have some anti-heli turrets. So these are going to be hard to take down inside of attack heli. And then these are a little bit more broad, a little bit more open, but they cover everything really nicely, which is so important to have a mix of the two, making our roof really, really difficult to get a hold of. You can see that the Patricos in shooting floor are stacked upon on roof as well, so we get these angles repeating up and over, giving us great head glitch angles that we can use on every single corner of the base, just like so. Can be really, really advantageous. A couple of beds up on here with some visibility as well, just to help us respawn. Not doing anything crazy from up here, just giving us purely some info to play off of on tall raid bases and such. And then of course, this is where the reverse waterfall meets up, and it's also a safe way for us to get back down the base too, which is really, really nice. Overall, that is the household. Hopefully you boys and girls are very impressed with this one and you'd like to know how to build it. First of all, I'm going to break down the build cost for you. So first of all, on screen is the total build cost. Second up is that build cost in box amounts, and lastly is the total upkeep that's spread between 3 TCs, and the main TC is holding the majority of that upkeep. Now we're going to go ahead and break down how to build this one, so stick around for the tutorial. Alright, let's get building now. So we're going to start off with the bare minimum to claim our footprint. All you simply need is a triangle with a door. And you can throw your TC inside here, keeping in mind that we're going to move it later on. Next, let's get the rest of our starter footprint down. So we're going to wrap into a square with triangles coming off the side, triangles down to here, and then squares off of triangles. So that creates this kind of like X shape, and that's what we're going for. You can then fill this triangle in, but don't rush ahead, because this one needs to be raised for our bunker, and then we seal it in completely. This square here next to it needs to be wooden, so keep that in mind too. And then we can honeycomb around it just like this. And this is the shape that we're looking for right now. Over here is just a useless triangle. Over here is going to be a loot room. And you can wrap around the back towards another loot room. Your choice of window door there. Then we wrap to the left, adding a wall in front. We can seal this whole part in, and then we wrap all the way through to our bunker entrance. I'll take the floors off just so you can see exactly what we got going on here. So this is what we're looking at. Extra triangle off to the side, and that's where we're going from. You can wrap all the way through with door frames like this, and for now we're just going to have a twig or wooden staircase to get up. But your bunker is ready to go, and you just seal it like that once you're ready to do so. We can then wall this whole part in. And you can single door or double door to seal that off, depending on how deep you guys are going to be. Beside our bunker, this is where we airlock out onto the second floor. And for now, you can just do some sort of temporary jump up, taking you up and over to get inside, and that will work fine for now. Directly on the opposite side of this single door, we have another one, and that just airlocks out from the left side like this, with a loot room in the middle here. And then we get more loot rooms over on this side, and over on this side. And that's just a wall there and there. Door frames down the middle. And all of that can be sealed in just like so. Next, we can go ahead and get an official footprint down. So let's go ahead and do that. So off of our squares, we can do triangles all the way around, just like this. So we got our triangles coming through, similar to how the bunker was set up. Then in between that, towards our front door, square into 2 triangles on both sides. Wrapping that through. And then you can make a hexagon off the back of this, like so. And a hexagon off the back of that too. Then we can go ahead and get all of our honeycombing down for the first floor. So off this hexagon here, we only fill in this much. You don't need to wrap it all in, the rest of it is just for compound. So we can honeycomb these back sides. Honeycombing here. And here. And you can even honeycomb the square in front and the triangle to the right. And there we go, we leave this one open. And you know what's going there. And that's going to be our way up and into the base, like so. On both sides. So there we go, this is how we're looking now. Hopefully you got a little bit more room to play out of with some boxes too. Next I'm going to take us up just 1 level. So we're jumping up from here. And we are peeking up from here. And you can do a low wall there for a box underneath, just like that. So you can set things up like this. And we just wall this whole part in. And on the back, continuing the jump up from that triangle. We'll seal it with a double door so nobody can go deep from the top. And we're safe to exit from this side, leaving the triangle open to continue jumping. But that will just give us some roof access for now, so we can actually do a bit of roof camping early game. And I'll do that over here as well. Same on this side, just like this. Seal this top triangle with a double door. And exit out with a double door as well. So there we go. You can now roof camp up top, which is nice and handy. What I've been doing as well at this stage in the build is just wrapping this level in. And what that gives you the option to do is to hide a minicopter up on this floor. And it just gives you a little bit more roof camp potential. You can just give yourself some twig to play off of up here. And then you can roof camp a little bit safer while still having a little bit of a bowl roof on the inside to hide minicopters. And roof camp when the terrain is a little bit looking in towards your base. But for now, I think that will do height-wise, and we're going to try and get some compound stuff going. For this next part, I'm going to go ahead and throw on symmetry, because we got a lot to do, and it's going to be 2-sided sim. And I'm going to be building in twig for a little bit, because we have some build-outs to do. So we're going to go ahead and come out with a full hexagon here. Then we can go into a triangle to cap it off, replacing it with a square. We're looking for this kind of fake gap here. And then we're going to turn this square into a triangle by building out with a triangle, square, triangle, breaking what we had, then triangle, square, triangle, and that replaces the square with a triangle. Then from there we can turn that into a full row, just like so. And I'll upgrade all of this to what we're using. And that's on both sides. 2-side symmetry, marker on the top left of the screen when it's on. Next we can bring the row around, wrapping through just like so, to give us a full wide gap on the corner here, leaving some of this in twig because we don't need it all. Same over here. And that's on both sides, wrapping all the way around. We can bring the row around over here too. And then lastly, we'll cover up the gap like this, leaving a gap to the side. So it's not a full symmetrical kind of footprint. You can see here we have a gap here and a gap here. It is symmetrical, but it's not bang on down the middle, but that just seals things up pretty nicely for us. And it works well enough. So I'll go ahead and upgrade what we need to keep, which is going to be this stuff here. We won't need that, and we won't need that. We can do that over here too. Upgrade. We don't need this. We don't need this. That's the bare minimum that we need. Then we're going to join all of these pieces together to make sure they're connected to the external TC that we're away to build. So you can start with the door frame on here. Walls on the back of this. Walls on the back of this. And a wall here as well. And same going along. There we go. So now everything is linked up and our shield wall is partially built up too, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and need to move on to external, but we need to get our gatehouse down first. And I'm going to move back to the B grade and turn that into a full hexagon now. So for the bare minimum that we need to get our external going and connect everything up is just a frame and a window. You can then come out with 2 triangles into a square to 3 triangles with a square. So that's what we're looking for. We want to float a frame off of here and then take away the foundations joining along so we can get a little disconnect going here. On this kind of right hand side triangle, this one here on the right, we're going to do 2 half walls, floor on top, half wall on top. This half wall underneath needs to be twig and it will stay twig so that we can use our disconnect. You can then add a single door, 2 garage doors, and wrap in the back here. Wall the rest of this in, ceilings on top, and our external should be able to go in the back left corner over here. Now to join everything up, we're going to throw down a frame, into a square frame, into a triangle frame. We're still missing a little bit of stability to get this to place, so we just need to do a wall here and a door here, and then we can get everything down. And just confirm that breaking the twig does break the disconnect. Does indeed. Place that back, and everything should reconnect up nicely. That's how we want everything to look. Perfect. We'll finish off the gatehouse now. So this is a Patrico here, and you can build that like so. Then we can add a single door in here, a couple of windows on the left and right, and a double to exit out. Then we Patrico both of these, and half wall around the back of our gatehouse for a turret, adding in a couple of roof ramps, frames so that we can get up on top of our shield wall. And that's that done. Everything is linked up and we've got our externals going, which is pretty nice. You're also ready to get your vending machines going if you want to. So you can wall in this square and throw a couple of vendings in these single doors. If you don't have enough, just throw in wooden doors for just now. That'll work fine too. But you can set that up just like this. And we'll add a triangle off the back to honeycomb. And we'll add this on top for our barricade to line up a little bit nicer. Now that that's set, we can also throw down these for our shield wall. And that's just going to make life a little bit easier for us to get up and over this section, utilizing angles, and eventually building up when we need to as well. Overall base is in a pretty good stage, but it would be good to get some high walls going so we can get some furnaces. For the high wall placement, I'm going to throw on 2-sided mirrored symmetry. And we want to start at the gatehouse, coming in at a pretty much flat 90-degree angle here. If you use your alt loop, you can loop towards this kind of thing here. We're curving out slightly, but we want to make sure there's no gaps down this side, and that's okay. Little gap there, but we can work with that. Then we want to do the same thing over here, pretty much 90-degree. You might need to pull away ever so slightly, but we are looking to create a 3 high wall gap, closing the gap over here, and we should be all good. Push this third wall out just a little bit so we can get a furnace in. So we want to throw that in here and make it nice and tall so they can't jump on top of it to get over a shield wall. And there we go. High walls are done, nice and easy. 3 high walls seal, 4 gaps. If you're a mathematician, that'll take you to 12 high walls. As for the barricades, they are pretty complicated, so watch nice and closely. We're going to get 1 down there, and 1 on the back here. Just like that. At this stage in the build, we are pretty much ready to try and get an open core going, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm keeping the 2-sided symmetry on, so keep that in mind. But from the top of the mobility chute, we're going to be walling to our left, half walling to our right, and adding a jump up in the middle. This is where we are going to create a little loot room. You can add that just like so, floating a triangle through, and there we go, sealing that up. In front, there's going to be a window here, and then on there, we can make that a Patrico, and add a half wall on top, adding a full wall to close everything up. And then your embrasure needs to go this way around. There we go, giving us our nice angle there. Over here is going to be our kind of drop down to our little bedroom section. So we wrap through like this, walling this down the middle, single door here, and this is where TC or battery will go. So you have 2 of these. 1 will be your TC, 1 will be your battery, whichever side makes more sense. So if this is a bit of a danger zone, maybe throw TC over on this end, and vice versa. We can then bring up all of our honeycombing for our open core loot rooms, just like so. That includes this section as well, taking it all the way to the height that we're currently working at, and sealing everything else in, apart from this jump up, of course. We can then wrap around the back of our open core. Over here is going to be a retake, so keep that in mind. So we can add in our drop down over here with a double door. Then over here is just a full honeycomb triangle. This can be our loot room, and I did it with a shelf just so it feels a little bit more open, and you can get a few extra boxes in there too. And then divide down the middle with doors, and you can see the angles watch all the way through the open core, which is very nice. So that gets all ceilinged off, just like so. And then we wall this part in, nothing crazy goes here. And this is where our jump up ends. We can wall that all the way in. And we continue the jump up over on this one, except we're making it one way for our shooting floor, so keep that in mind. Jumping up from here, just like so. And then instead of walling this in, we actually leave it open so that the shooting floor can use it. And then you can wrap around the back of this. And we create a one-way up onto roof. And then we create a one-way up onto roof going this direction, again walling that off. Leaving the frames out to the side here so that we can still use our shooting floor. And that jump up leads to roof. We can seal this one in, airlock out into our kind of god floor, just like this. Then we get windows down the middle. Half wall to seal that part in. And more half walls over here, with a full wall in front. Give that a single door for our airlock. And then cap it all in just like so. We get our one ways onto roof level like this. One ways onto shooting floor like that. Airlocks out into the middle. And then we just door frame everything else in between. You can leave those ones out if you want to do the open kind of plan beds that I did. Just set it up like that. There we go. Over on here, things get a little bit different, so don't rush ahead. We don't fully add in the honeycombing. We add in the walls. Then we add in half walls. Then we add windows on top. And that's how we're going to leave that. The next thing we need to do is start raising up some frames for our shooting floor. So we're going to start by coming down to the bottom towards our kind of staircase setup. And we're going to raise up 1, 2 into half walls, into frames, into half walls. We can do that on every single corner. So up 1, 2, half walls, frames, half walls. That should be nice and easy. And you can add your floor in there. And then you want to float frames off of the bottom set. So we're 1/2 height down. And that's going to let us create some Patrico windows on all the corners. Adding frames on top. Floor frame inside. Half walls on top. And just full kind of sealing this section in. Of course with a window to complete our Patrico. Just like so. And that can get all the way floored in. We can now add frames over here to divide. And you're going to want double doors there and there to cover up any wide gaps in the shooting floor that we don't intend from shooting from, but could be used against us. That keeps us a lot safer from the outside. Next, for the reverse waterfall, if you grab some netting and just simply place a frame down the middle here, raising it up, placing the net as we go. And I guess you could do this before you do the other stuff if you want to get up and down nice and fast doing your shooting floor stuff. Over on the right hand side, we're going to do a frame. And on the left, we're going to do a frame. You can then add in walls on the back of this with a ramp going up this direction. In front of our ramp, we can do a window, and that's going to be rotated towards roof with a retake in front. Then from there, we can do a half wall on top of this with a floor just like that. You can also frame this if you want and floor that in too. Then on the back of this, we can add in windows and 2 single doors sealed in just like that. And from there we half wall on the back of this, and we just give that a ramp for slightly better turret visibility up top on this triangle here. Then add in your floors coming off of main base, not wide gap, and we can raise up frames off of these again. This time just low walling the top of these to keep our head safe, and then half wall window. Give us a nice Patrico angle with a ramp here. And I find that the sheet metal works the best for this one. There we go, and you can crouch around on that as freely as you want with no bump. Same over here. We're just low walling the top of this. Frame in the middle. Window. Metal frame to come through. Give us some more Patricos up top. Then down here, you can go ahead and drop down and float a frame through. So that's a triangle frame I just placed. And from there, you can add in a couple more frames. Half walling the top of that. So these are just visibility windows. This is actually a Patrico in the middle here, and you can seal that in. Up top, I want to do a little shop front, and then above that, we do a turret spot, giving it frames all the way through, keeping it safe from any minicopters and such. and then we can half wall the top of this to keep some beds safe, and throw a shop front through the middle of this section here. Finally, our windmill can go at the tallest point of the base, right up top, and then once you've done that, that completes the base design. Hopefully boys and girls have enjoyed this video, found it easy enough to follow. Of course, if you have any questions, hop in the Discord down below. Feel free to check out the Patreon, got some cool stuff coming there very soon. Remember to leave this video a little like, maybe drop a sub, and I'll see you boys and girls in the next video. See you in a bit.